Okay, we're going to take and continue covering night combat and some of the changes associated with that. And this video is going to focus on some of the minimal changes you're going to see when it comes to shaken unit movement and spotting for artillery and how those aspects are going to work. When it comes to shaken units and their movement during night combat, they are allowed to move towards an enemy, which they're normally not allowed to do, as long as the enemy doesn't fall within a few certain restrictions. They can't be in their line of sight and with a fired marker, and they can't be illuminated by a star shell, which we'll take and cover in a later video, and they can't be within 2 hexes of the shaken unit itself, okay? So it sounds like a lot of restrictions, but it's really not. I've got some examples laid out here for you. There's a shaken American unit down here, and normally they would be constantly moving away from the enemy units, but in this case they could take and move up into these areas because the walls are blocking off their line of sight. The German units are not marked with fired or star shell markers illuminating them, but once they get within, the shaken unit is within 2 hexes, like they are now between here, they could not continue to move north in closer towards the German units. So during night combat, you do have some openings when it comes to the movement of your shaken units instead of the usual just keep moving away from enemy attackers. Also, when it comes to spotting for artillery, you're still going to have your leaders and your scouts able to call in offboard artillery to any hex that they would have normal line of sight to during the day, but there is a +1 modifier added to the scatter die roll. So our leader over here could still call down his spotting round as normal. Wherever he has line of sight, they would still be rolling a 2d6 roll to determine, this normal scatter of where it's going to end up. You're just going to have that extra +1 modifier affecting your white die, which is your distance, and that's just to signify how during nighttime combat your artillery is going to take and scatter a little farther than normal.